Hello and welcome to a Dragon Ball Super Card Game battle. It's just me today, Black Tide, viewing with you the match between Andoid 21 and BULMA Burn deck. We decided to do Burn v Burn. Two female characters just so happen to also be Burn decks, the most probably prominent in the meta Burn decks. I don't know if a lot of people have seen this version of BULMA, but it uses the King Piccolo unison, not the Piccolo unison you think, but the Giant Force King Piccolo one to burn. Yes, that actually is kind of a good unison that people kind of slept on, but works perfectly in BULMA because of the amount of blockers and defending it can do. It plays very control heavy because red can actually be played as a control deck, but why would you when you've got so many great free play options and so many great aggro options for red, and blue obviously has kind of better options, but red BULMA, especially a lot of people will not be prepared for this matchup, so it's a great choice if you want to go, if you're aiming for top 8. I think it's a great choice for people. On the other hand, you got Andoid 21, a deck that's so difficult to play against because it's got a strategy where it can, because it's blue, it can stop you from attacking. Blue has a lot of options to end your turn or stop attacks from coming in, stop battle cards from coming in. A lot of defensive options, as you already know. That's what blue does. It avoids getting hit in the face, which is fantastic for blue-green. And then obviously you get some of the good green staples in there as well that don't require a green leader. But the beauty of this deck is that you ramp using the Andoid 16 energy amplification, which this deck did get kind of support with the Andoid 16 deck. In Evolution Booster this got some good support, and you can see there my winner promo that I got last year for coming second in the Northern Ireland Regional. Finally it's being put to use, as I finally put that Andoid 21 deck I got a while ago to use. This deck got support in Evolution Booster, that was about a year ago now as well, and it's been casually topping quite frequently. You'll see 21 and BULMA even in top 8s. The great thing about this deck is that it not only ramps, allowing you to use more of your options, but you don't even have to hit your opponent to actually win the game. If your opponent doesn't have a god ceiling or some counterplay to stop you from playing your bad omens, then you know you can kind of just sail on to free victory once you get to a certain point. Especially when you charge your bad omens. You always want to put your bad omen into your energies, just because it's technically one less energy to play it out by putting in energy, sort of. Or you can tap itself to play it. So it's an incredibly good way to win a game if your opponent's on one energy. You can play it, or alternatively, you've got a different win con you might see a little later. Hint, hint. Anyone who plays Andoid 21 or has played against it probably knows what I'm speaking about, and you might have just seen it be put into the energy area. The thing about Andoid 21 is, and what a lot of people struggle with the deck, is the fact that the deck actually has so much to remember, and you have to do everything in a certain order. Almost feels like you're playing Yu-Gi-Oh again, and a bit like Magic as well, because the first battle card played, due to the field spell, is played non-rest mode, but is played with Summoning Sickness, and black cards cannot be played in 21 deck, so no overwhelming for this deck. But the field spell, the main part, basically is your opponent gets 2 clone tokens on your turn, so you have to remember to give your opponent those 2 clone tokens, and that's always difficult when you're in the heat of the moment and you're trying to like remember what you want to do on their turn and where you're going forward, and then suddenly it's like, oh, I have to put 2 clone tokens on my opponent's field, and if you don't, it can actually mess up with your plays, and because you need those clone tokens to remove them to get the effects off of your leader and the effects off of your unison. And some of the cards in hand as well. There's a 21 blocker, I believe. The championship promo from 2020 allows you to remove a clone token and play for free, and that gives you a free blocker barrier. I'm pretty sure she's barrier too, and she's good removal too. Anyway, getting back on track. Due to the field spell, you have to remember to give your opponent the clone tokens. You have to remember not only that, but to the unit at the end of your turn to switch an energy back to active mode. And also with the unison, you have to remember to actually do its +2 before you attack with your leader, because you're just leaving 5k on the plus 5k on the table if you don't do that, you know. And it's not, this deck is not for people that can't deal with pressure, because you have to stay cool in the heat of the moment. And yeah, I'm not one of those people, so the deck does not suit me at all. I really like the R, and it's kind of a shame because I like some of the interesting mechanics, but I also don't like having. You also have to remember that the first battle card you play cannot attack, so you don't want to put Bad Omen or anything with triple strike as your first attack, because then it's just a dead card. There's not really too many dual attackers now that 21 has come out as Bad Omen, and I did it wrong. I shouldn't have made it the first battle card I played that turn, because now I'm missing a 2500 hit at the leader. Now obviously he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blockers on the field at the moment, so it wouldn't have mattered. But you know, removing a blocker might have been handy. That might have been the reason I lost the game, is by playing Bad Omen at the bad time. I think I also should have left in the energy and left it for until I took one more energy and then resolve the Hellfighter. So that was my mistake. I should have been more, and that's what I'm talking about. So you have to remain cool. You have to be willing to take your chances a bit of finding the Bad Omens too. You have to do everything in the correct order. So it does take a very skilled pilot to be able to use this deck. And like, you know, huge congrats. Like, it's one thing to, you know, it's impressive enough to get into the top 8 or the top 4 at a Dragon Ball event, because it's a super difficult game. It's a tactical game. Like, doing with any deck is difficult enough. Like, whether it's King Piccolo or Gogeta Zeno or Vegeta Trunks or so on. I think Android 21 is probably the hardest deck to do it with. I've never had such a hard time, and I personally, from my experience, of trying to remember all the stuff I have to do and what order to do things in. Because if you know, other decks you do in order, but you don't get punished as severely as you would with 21 if you're not playing this at the top level. So I think, like, full credit to every player who's ever topped an event with it, because I struggled so much with this deck, trying to learn it, trying to get used to doing everything in the right order. You can see the Pan's secret rare come down, and that stops all my battle cards from attacking. It's probably the best SCR, and it's great in this deck because you can see the amount board, and especially against this deck where you're getting 2 free clone tokens, so you don't have to play any battle cards against 21. Funnily enough, you could be the most controlled deck, never play a battle card, and still be able to summon Pan for free because your opponent keeps giving you clone tokens. So 2 turns in, and if he hasn't removed those clone tokens, you know, you get the Pan. So I find that kind of funny. Obviously, rewinding a bit back there, Bulma Bunny Girl was brought out because I maybe should have removed that card. I mean, obviously, how was I to know he had the Bunny Girl in hand? But obviously I should be wary of these things. Removing things by skill is always a bit of a gamble. One is now going to awaken. So when Bulma awakens, permanent means basically that all the Saiyans get blocker and so on. You get to draw 2 cards as well. A red decks, it's strange with red decks in the fact that a lot of them just draw a lot of cards, which you wouldn't really think of for a heavy aggro. Like, well, yeah, the 3 top red decks, which I would say is King Piccolo, U7 Goku, and possibly Bulma, to be honest. I mean, Jiren is a good red deck too, but I don't know if I don't know if Bulma is better than Jiren. I would have to see recent results, but I think Bulma might actually be better than Jiren in this format, at least. But I don't think, I mean, neither are a bad call. Like, if you want to play either a deck that, you know, they both have their own strengths, they both play interesting, different mechanics. But back to the battle here. You can see Android 21 is on 5 energy, 1 in rest, so they're getting close. You can see the Super 17 in the charge phase, so it's a matter of time in some ways, but well, I'll have to get another Bad Omen in the charge place to be able to burn him per game. Or, well, I'll have to take 1 life and then Bad Omen. But there's a lot of blockers in the way. There's a lot of blockers. I, you know, you'll see. Maybe I have a space time unraveled. Maybe that's my hand. Reaching across. Drawing. Return. I'm using the leader effect, returning that to hand. So one thing that's funny about the 21 leader is that its effect is the same on both sides, except for the field spell effect. But the leader doesn't get any more powerful when, aside from the extra 1500, extra 5000 power when it awakens. So, yeah, it's a bit different. Yeah, he's gonna use a blocker. After the blocker is used, going to then attempt to arrival. No, yeah. So I was attempting to arrival, comboing with this card to arrival out him. Obviously going to read the card there to make sure it's all a-okay. This probably wasn't the best use for it because I was already over the amount of power I needed to kill that blocker. I wasn't attacking the leader, and that's what I mean is trying to remain cool, trying to remain calm, do the right decisions at the right time. Is you kind of get caught up with all the different intricacies of the deck. So it's quite likely you can make a meal of this deck, as well as the fact that it's actually one of the very few blue decks that don't draw a lot. It's funny, this BULMA deck is actually one of the few red decks, or one of the a lot of red decks don't do a lot of drawing unless, you know, you're playing a special engine to do so. Or you have things in the red order, and you see that Bardock just got added to the hand there. A dangerous card, allowing that King Piccolo Unison to start doing some burning. But everything has to be done in the right order, or else you get punished for it. You can see the amount of cards in hand for BULMA. More clone tokens, yay. Charging the Raditz, I'm not sure if that's the best move. That card is, it keeps getting returned to hand. Out comes the Bardock tapping 3, and that puts 3 markers extra onto the King Piccolo Unison. You gotta imagine he's gonna start putting some hurt down with that burn. Attacking now, that's a 19k crit, so that's not a good place to be in. It's not a place you want to be in at all. It's a difficult matchup for Android 21 to deal with when your opponent's not attacking. In fact, they're putting kind of floodgates down. That's the bad omen down with the Super 17, so that's one burn he can do once he gets the 7 energy. Well, that's what I can do when I get 7 energy. And it puts the 5k on top of the 21 leader from the Unison's +2. It's just gigantic board from both sides. You know, you'd swear you were seeing a red versus red or a black versus black match. With the amount, well, it's red, BULMA's red. You'd expect this out of red to have a lot of cards on field, especially being given 2 battle cards at the end of every turn. Out comes the Topo, ending that hope of trying to attack and attempting to possibly Senzu Bean. If you had a few Senzu Beans in hand, could have attacked through the blockers and then resolved the bad omen, but that's not what happened. Thanks to the Topo, that's probably not going to happen, especially with the very few cards in hand. But out comes energy amplification to really ramp up the pressure, get themselves even, Android 21 looking closer and closer to resolving their effect. But it's a tough ask. So Giant Force King Piccolo and our 19k crit. We'll see now. It's tough to want to combo past this, and he's gonna combo because why not? His hand is ginormous. The BULMA hand is huge. no doubt, no doubt. It's going to be tough to survive this. Out comes the lineage and taking the Bardock. The Bardock is swapped sides. I think the Bardock is a lot of the cards have barrier blocker. A lot of the cards have blocker. All the Saints have blocker. He's the biggest blocker, I believe. Yeah, all red and yellow Saints and Earthlings cards in your battle area game blocker, and the Bardock was the biggest blocker he had available. I wasn't able to take the Pan because the Pan is at 8, and Topo is not a Saiyan, so you know, Bardock was the best option there, in my opinion anyway, to take. So that's the biggest blocker taken away, and that's really the only reason. Also 20k attack, that would have hurt if he'd hit me with that as well, because at the moment I am trying to survive long enough to be able to resolve the attack, and I just want to be able to resolve my effect. I want to be able to resolve my Super 17. I don't have too many cards in hand. I don't have that many cards in hand for the whole game because the leader only draws one card and the unison doesn't draw cards. Nothing really like does a lot of drawing. The Pan is now attacking 40k. Declare blocker with the championship promo. That came in clutch in the end. Just being able to avoid a 40k slap to the mouth. I want to protect the Goku is what happened. The Goku, so if you don't know or you didn't read on the screen, the Goku means that all battle cards or all attacks you can't attack the leader, you have to attack this Goku card. So obviously if the Pan attacked the Goku card, that's I wouldn't have been able to combo and protect it, so it's just better to give up the blocker I had. So yeah, just protecting this Goku is what I have to try and stop him, because if he can take a couple more life off me, he can just burn me for game. It's a difficult position to be in when you know just a couple attacks and then a burn for game. Yeah, he's going all in on this Goku. He's gonna try and combo the Goku with the Videl, Goku, and then a Raditz, lots of Raditz, Yamcha, and a Peel Off. And I just don't have that many cards in the combo to protect it, so now my leader is open to attacks. Topo 20k into my lead. And I'm just trying to consider whether I should try and combo with this. I don't have too many cards in hand, but I'm not in a position where I want to be burned to death. It's not a happy situation to be in, knowing that your opponent can just tap a bunch of life to essentially win the game. Down there to 3 life, I believe, and he could definitely burn me. I'm not sure at this point. I'm pretty worried at this point. He's attacking with the just trying to combo a lot of the cards from his hand to get me down to I think 2 life, so he can try and win the game with the burn. That's kind of the problem with King Piccolo. One is you need quite a lot of energy, or requires a large amount of taps. So I out combo the Videl because that Videl only has around I think 4,000 power. So if he comboed one more card, he probably would have won the game here, but unfortunate for him, he goes to burn me for 2, which is what he shouldn't have done, because for all he knows he may have given me the bad omen right there. And now we're up to I think 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, yeah, so it depends if yeah, I charged the bad omen there, so that should be game if I think to resolve it. And yep, just tap 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Hellfighter comes out. You can see that Bulma has realized 2 bad omens out on the field, and that's game. If you liked the video, if you enjoyed the video, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Comment down below what you think.